The last thing we want is for something else to happen to someone. What does it take? What does it take? With that said, I'm going to ask the spokesperson for the family to speak. And I'll give some closing comments, and we'll take questions after he speaks. Mr. Hudson.
Thank you, Congressman. My name is James Hudson. I've been the spokesperson for the Berries for the last year. This case is all about politics, power, and promotions over people. The killing of Joshua Johnson is the biggest cover-up in the history of Harris County. The killing of Joshua J. Johnson is the biggest cover-up in the history of Harris County. The Houston Chronicle editorial board compared this case with the Harding Street raid, and they implored both Kim Ogg, District Attorney Kim Ogg, and Ed Gonzalez to show the courage and some integrity that you would have to have in order to deal with this case. If you want to know the truth about why they could not indict Deputy Tutran, I'm about to tell it to you. They could not indict Deputy Tutran because if you indict Deputy Tutran, you would have to indict several officers that watched Joshua Johnson take his last breath for 15 or 20 minutes and did not render any aid.
Yes, sir.
If you indict Deputy Tutran, you would have to indict the officers that after he shot Joshua Johnson in the back of Mr. Pringle's yard, and you would have to indict those officers that helped cover up that scene. If you indict Deputy Tutran, you would have to indict the officers that stood before a camera and lied to both the media and to this family about what took place between the officer that did the shooting and Joshua Johnson. If you indict Deputy Tutran, you would have to indict all those people who have falsified records. It would be the biggest cover-up in the history of Harris County. And the Harris County Sheriff Department cannot afford that. They cannot afford that. National exposure. A 35-year-old black man house-sitting for a white lady whom he loved like it was his own mother, who got shot and killed by a renegade cop with a history a mile long. How in the world do we expect for this to happen when you have the police policing the police, the police endorsing each other? How is it that the DA office is going to tell the sheriff department, well, I'm sorry, Ed, but I've got to indict 15 of your officers behind a black man who was house sitting for a white lady and who got killed by one of your renegade cops? This is one of the biggest cover-ups in the history of Harris County, and that's why we did not get justice. Shame on you, shame on you. We want everybody to understand that this can happen. It happened to Joshua Johnson on April the 22nd, but who is it going to happen to next? Your child could be house sitting, dog sitting, babysitting, and have a renegade cop come through and shoot and kill your child and find out that he has shot and killed the wrong person, and now he's got to cover it up. This is the biggest cover-up in the history of Harris County. Thank you, guys, and God bless you.
All right, at this time, we'll take some questions.
Congressman Al Green, I see that the family is definitely very upset and in turmoil. Once we get that ballistics report, how sure are we that it's going to be different than these stories that Officer Bell and Tutran have come up with, and where do we go from there?
Well, we'll get the report, and after we get it and have an opportunity to peruse it, we will then talk to the press about it. If we get it, you will get it. We're not trying to hide anything. We just want to get to the truth of what happened to Joshua Johnson. So we will share that report with you. The family has authorized me to say that. I think it's safe for me to say that we'll share it with the public. When we get it, we'll be sure to let you have it.
What's next for you guys? What's the next step? Is there anything left to do?
Of course there is. For this family, it's not over. We have to go to the sheriff's department. We have to request the statement of Officer Tutran. We have to request the indications that he may have had to Mr. Bell about how this actually occurred. We want to know who told Officer Bell how this incident occurred if it wasn't Tutran, and he didn't talk to Tutran. So there's somebody else involved in this, and we can't get that name. We want to know who is that person. That person ought to be talked to as well. So the next step is to go to the sheriff's department.
Any legal action?
Well, the family can take legal action with a lawyer. They have wanted to see this system function for them. They want to see it work for people who are law-abiding, who have not called for marches and protests. They believe in peaceful protest, but they wanted to see the system work for them. And this is what they get. Nothing more than the grand jury prohibits people from explaining what actually happened, the laws related to the secrecy that surrounds the grand jury testimony and evidence presented. That's just unacceptable. They have to know more. So we're going to the sheriff's department next, and we'll let you know about our attempts and our successes as we try to get this information from the sheriff.
Once that ballistics report is shared, if there is enough evidence on that ballistics report to show that there is some foul play, how can we get another trial back in the grand jury?
There is no law in the state of Texas that would prohibit taking a case to a grand jury more than once. A case with new evidence, as you have explained it, can be presented to a grand jury a second time. Another grand jury can hear this. Any other questions? May I give you a final comment, please? Aside from the possibility of this going to another grand jury, that's possible, but this DA's office would have to have some influence in that process, would have some influence in the process. So I'm not saying to you that it will happen. I'm saying to you that the law permits it to happen. Now, having said that, I got to tell you this, it's important. That's not the only thing we can do. There are other things. You've mentioned litigation. I'm not a lawyer for them. I'm their congressman. But litigation is something that they can pursue, and that's up to them. But even with that, there are still other things that can be done, and we'll bring those things to your attention. We will. Thank you.